Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ English. Now, do you like eating rice? I'm sure majority of you will say yes. Interestingly, rice is also the most common, the largest staple food across the world by consumption. Today we are talking exactly about that. India has achieved a great feat. We have surpassed China in terms of our rice production capacity. So today, India is not just the largest producer of rice in the world, we are also the top exporter of rice in the whole world. Now, looking at exactly how has this feat become possible? Here on the map, you can see the broad areas, the various states which lead in the rice production. With that, I will ask a question from you. Much before the practice question, a question as we discuss the topic. Do keep answering these questions, and if you want answers to these questions, then join us for the Hindu newspaper analysis every morning 9:30 a.m. That's where we keep discussing these issues in detail. Now, coming back to what has happened, yes, India is now the largest rice producing country in the whole world, surpassing China. Today, our rice production is pegged at about 150.18 million tons, and we have crossed China, which produces about 145.28 million tons of rice. We, therefore, are also the top exporters of rice, who is now exporting a wide variety of rice, high-yielding varieties as well to various other countries. Now, please tell me, tell me the answer to this question, that if I talk about Chhattisgarh, now Chhattisgarh also produces some of the finest rice varieties. There are two varieties of rice produced in Chhattisgarh that were in the news recently. One was the Jeera Phool rice. There is another one. Can you tell me which variety is that? Very famous from Chhattisgarh. Starts from N. Do let me know. And if you remember, I had discussed with you in one of my videos that Chhattisgarh was also in the news because Chhattisgarh was exporting a very high quality fortified rice kernels, fortified rice to two other countries, Costa Rica and Papua New Guinea. So do let me know which rice variety was I talking about. And because we have spoken about Chhattisgarh, also do remember Chhattisgarh was in the news because finally India has now another wetland, Ramsar wetland site, the first Ramsar wetland site coming from Chhattisgarh. Which site is that? Quickly tell me in the comment box. Coming back to India's rice production. So India is also a top exporter of rice. Yes. Now, looking at how the Indian government has made this announcement, apart from announcing that we are the largest rice producer, the government also introduced about 184 improved varieties of 25 crops that have been developed by the Indian Council of Agriculture Research. And the newly released varieties basically belong to 122 cereals. There are variety pulses. Because we are talking about pulses, remember we have discussed in the news thoroughly. India is aiming to become Atmanirbhar when it comes to pulse production, a chief source of protein for majority of Indians. In that video, I had discussed with you which state in India is the largest producer of soybean. Do let me know in the comment box if you remember that discussion. Also, as we are aiming to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant in pulse production, remember that we have decided to now start giving a minimum support price. The government is being encouraged strongly by experts that we should give a good amount of minimum support price, not just on rice and wheat, but also when it comes to pulses, to allow farmers to diversify their production. Now, there are 13 oil seeds that we have introduced, so many being variety of cotton. In the news very recently was a GI tag product. It was named as Ponguru Khadi. From which state did it come? We were talking about cotton in that case, a very fine variety of cotton. And then, of course, jute and tobacco. So all these crops have been announced by the government. Now, whenever you read a topic in which you are discussing all these agriculture crops, be very sure to remember which crops in India belong to the Kharif season, which to the Rabi season, and which then come from the Zaid season. These are important for the exam, and all of this is covered in the NCERT grade 10th and grade 11 book. Now, rice is primarily a Kharif crop in India. It's often a matter of debate and discussion. Now, rice cultivation is not just about a simple crop being harvested or a simple crop being grown. It is much more complex than that. Many times we have seen there has been a debate about how rice production is also related to a large amount of methane gas emission, CH4, which is toxic to the environment. So therefore, paddy, rice being a water intensive crop, if you grow it by the traditional method, it needs a lot of water pooling. That also relates to a lot of methane emission, and therefore I had made a video here saying that is rice the new charcoal? Is rice the new coal because of the high amount of methane production involved here? At the same time, when we talk about rice or paddy cultivation, we often also think of the Delhi air quality issue, because stubble burning comes in the picture. Remember, we have discussed in the Hindu newspaper multiple number of times how every winter season, as the time comes for the Rabi, the winter crop to be sown and the Kharif to be harvested, the period in between witnesses a high amount of stubble burning. Stubble burning because what we burn usually is the paddy straw, and that's what leads to a higher amount of air quality toxicity. So do remember these topics as well. Now coming back to rice. Rice, mainly a kharif crop. Today we have advanced agriculture, advanced irrigation facilities. So many states also grow rice during the Rabi season and the season in between. But mainly, chiefly it is a kharif crop, okay? And mainly it's grown during the monsoonal peak months, also because it's a labor intensive and it's a water intensive crop. Do remember. Now India is today the world's largest rice exporter as well. We are exporting not just the basmati and non-basmati type, but many more special qualities of rice. For example, if you look at the entire global output, then it is India that supplies 30% of rice globally. Our global exports of rice are about 30% of the total share. After India, you have countries like Thailand and Vietnam, followed by Pakistan. Now, because I believe in interlinking current affairs, of course, I would want to remind you about the Thailand Cambodia conflict. Do not forget about the 817 kilometers border. Do not forget about the Pre-Vihir temple, International Court of Justice, and the Dangrek mountain range. I want you to remember. I want you to remember Vietnam, because we are now supplying the BrahMos missile to Vietnam. Pakistan, we just discussed in the news for two reasons. One, a technology that China is supplying to Pakistan, a special kind of missile. Second, the F-16 fighter jet from America. And third, the 27th amendment to Pakistan constitution. Keep relating current affairs to each other. Now coming back to the main agenda here. We are talking about also how India now is producing some high yielding rice varieties. I just told you. Chhattisgarh has also sent some of the finest high quality fortified rice grains to a few countries, okay? Now looking at the high yielding variety rice, a word that you often hear as you study the Green Revolution period, okay? Now talking about rice, due to the initiative of Indian Council of Agriculture Research, today we say we have genome edited rice varieties like the DRR Dhan 100 variety known as Kamala variety. Then you also have another variety known as the Pusa DST Rice 1 variety. They are very efficient because they are not only resilient to water scarcity, but they can also grow very well under climate stress. And that's why these are quite good in giving us a higher production. And then of course we have traditional varieties also, which we have used since the time of the Green Revolution. These are Jaya, Ratna, all these are the high yielding varieties. Let's broadly remember their names. And now looking at which states in India lead when it comes to rice production, then West Bengal, states like Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Odisha, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu and Assam are the leading producers of rice in India. And that is why when we often talk about the depleting groundwater level, we often do a case study of states like Punjab, Haryana, Tamil Nadu. Yes, because any state that grows a tremendous amount of rice will obviously be a more water intensive, agriculture oriented. So that's why we often talk about the groundwater problem as well. Now coming back to what are the common methods of rice cultivation. Now for the UPSC exam, you don't really have to know the nitty gritty of all these, but then broadly you should know that these are the typical rice growing methods. The main is broadcasting method. It's a very simple method. You just sow the seed by your hand directly on the dry soil. Now with this, you should also remember which type of soil is more suitable for rice cultivation. I clearly remember about few days back in the Hindu newspaper class, some students were talking about soil samples that were collected from a spacecraft, from a space mission from the South Pole area of the moon. We called it regolith. From that, I was telling my students about the regur soil, the black soil. Today, I am not asking about the cotton or the black peanut soil. I am asking about which soil is then the perfect one that suits rice cultivation. Do let me know in the comment box. Now, this is the easiest method, broadcasting method. It is very suitable for areas that have less labor or it has some kind of soil fertility problem. The more common one would be then drilling method. It involves first plowing the seed, plowing the land, plowing the soil, and then simultaneously, at the same time, you are also sowing the seeds in the soil, very common. Third is the transplantation method. This is usually practiced in a lot of places in India, but it is a water-intensive method. It consumes a lot of water. Transplantation method means seeds are first grown in nurseries. You can see the picture here. Once they are mature enough, about say 25, 30 days, a month time, they are then transplanted into the main proper larger field. You need a lot of labor here. You need a lot of water here. And therefore, you also need to take care of pest control. This will result in a higher yield, but it also has a higher input cost, and therefore now some people are trying the Japanese method. The Japanese method is more about using fertilizer. It is more about achieving high productivity, but then you need a lot of inputs for that. High quality fertilizer, pesticide, manure, all of that is needed, plus it is mechanized. You need machines for that. Now comes system of rice intensification, SRI. This is when young seeds are first planted at a lot of space from each other. A lot of space is left between them. Soil is kept a little wet but not completely flooded with water. And then you use organic manure. You do not depend too much on chemical fertilizer. Now this is a very futuristic technique because it doesn't need too much water logging. So therefore, less methane emission, less water intensivity. Then comes direct seeding of rice. Rather than first growing in a nursery and then transplanting, here they are directly growing rice in the field. Directly. So therefore, it reduces the cost of labor and water as well. Perfect for places that have water scarcity, particularly Punjab, Haryana. Punjab, Haryana also at the heart of discussion on Green Revolution. Many times I have discussed with you, very few states in India had benefited from Green Revolution. Which states benefited, which did not, that's a separate discussion altogether. And now looking at methane emission, yes. Rice cultivation is often associated with higher methane emission, and that's why today rice cultivation has come under scanner. In India, not just because of stubble burning, but also because too much water in the crop leads to anaerobic microbial decomposition, leading to more CH4 or methane emission, and that definitely adds up to the global emission. A country like India, which promises that by 2070 we want to become carbon neutral, we do not want any kind of carbon footprint. This could be a very valid question to think about. A quick practice question to you. With reference to recent developments in Indian agriculture, please look at these statements. 1. India has overtaken China to become world's largest producer of rice, with production exceeding about 150 million tons. Second, improved irrigation, adoption of high-yielding varieties and much better services are the major reasons behind this. And third, the ICAR has recently released more than 180 improved crop varieties, including pulses, cotton, oilseed fodder, aimed at enhancing productivity, climate resilience. Which of these statements do you think are valid? You can also verify your answer. You can discuss these answers here. Should you have an opinion about rice cultivation, but please keep your opinion UPSC centric and non-political, you're welcome to share it with us. A quick reminder, we are running a great sale offer on our platform. You are entering a new year now. So as I wish you a happy new year, also remember it's a great opportunity for you to enroll for 27 and 28 batches. Why? Because prices are very affordable. A course that starts from 14,999, but then if you use my code SPLIVE, you get a further discount on that. It is available in all languages, Hindi, English, bilingual, but the batch is beginning on 7th January. So please take an action immediately because well begun is half done, okay? And we cover all GS subjects here. We promise you prelims, mains, basic interview guidance as well. For 28 also same. A very simple, a very easy offer. 32,999. Further discount is possible. Do not forget code SPLIVE. Batch is starting 7th January. We train you intensively for UPSC 28. Prelims, mains, answer writing, essay writing, current affairs, books, material, all is on us. So therefore apply today. Hurry up and thank you so much.